At the edge of the Pacific, the crew of the Kenai Raider prepares for a high-stakes run into the deep offshore canyons of Alaska. Captain Lars plots their course toward the offshore trench zones, where warm currents collide with the cold deep sea. Every valve and hydraulic line must withstand the freezing pressure. Steering failure out here means drifting into the reef. On the deck, deckhand Anton inspects the frozen bow lines, ensuring the ice hasn't locked the safety ropes. Anton wrestles the frozen bowline, breaking the ice grip to prepare the vessel for release. Cast off, the vessel slips away from the harbor, heading toward the volatile fishing grounds of the north.
Engaging the main diesel engine, the captain guides the steel vessel into the rising swell of the open Gulf.
The hull pushes through the coastal swell, embarking on a transit to the deep fishing grounds of the Gulf Stream. Passing the outer marker buoy, the crew leaves the last navigational warning behind. As the harbor disappears in the morning fog, the crew enters a silent world governed only by the cold wind. Behind the main cabin, engineer Kaelen accesses the bait locker. Scent density is key to attracting the bluefin.
Dozens of frozen mackerel must be sliced and packed into scent bags to draw the bluefin from their deep paths.
The frozen bait is placed on the sorting table, and the crew must work before their fingers lose all feeling. Each heavy tuna hook is baited by hand, a critical step to ensure the bait swims naturally in the deep swells.
Lars operates the spool pedestal controls, setting the release speed for the main longline.
Anton snaps the branch line onto the moving main line, a swift maneuver repeated hundreds of times. Running through the aft chute, the line deploys into the wake, drifting toward the feeding zones.
The orange marker buoy slides over the rail, marking the end of the first deep line set.
Anton presses the spool brake release button, unlocking the hydraulic drum to feed the deep line. The wet main line zips out, throwing salt water spray as the drag of the deep ocean pulls it down. Releasing the red buoy, Kaelen marks the midsection of the line, keeping track of the deep gear. The red buoy bobs in the swells, a silent marker tracking their gear across the open Atlantic depths. Lars scans the sonar screen, looking for the undersea ridges where warm water currents draw the bluefin. Anton and Kaelen snap hook after hook, maintaining a continuous deployment flow under the gray skies. The last marker buoy plunges into the swells, completing the deployment of the miles-long line. From the helm console, Lars monitors the deck, watching the crew secure the main spool. Anton rests his body for a moment. Out here, the cold wind drains energy as fast as the heavy physical labor. Kaelen checks the hydraulic pressure, ensuring the pump is stable before the heavy haul begins. The vessel rides the swells, pushing through the cold waves of the open Pacific under dark skies. Kaelen shovels fresh ice into the totes, preparing the bins to preserve the tuna catch immediately. Night operations begin under the cold halogen lights, salting the green deck floor to prevent dangerous ice formation. Anton maintains his watch post, keeping visual checks on the dark sea for ice blocks and floating gear. Freezing fog rolls in at dawn, masking the horizon and isolating the vessel in a cold, silent gray expanse.
Approaching the drop point, the vessel locks coordinates, locating the frost-crusted marker buoy line.
Bracing against the roll, Anton readies the gaff pole, aligning the steel hook to catch the floating line. Bracing against the wave surge, Anton hooks the floating buoy, hauling the wet poly rope in toward the rail.
He wraps the line around the hydraulic block sheaves, locking the line to pull the main line from the deep.
The line coils rapidly on the wet deck, throwing off seawater drops that freeze on the steel planks. The first hook breaks the surface empty, the bait stripped clean by the deep ocean currents. Kaelen detaches the empty branch clip, coiling the line back into the storage bin to prepare for baiting.
Lars adjusts the hydraulic alignment, ensuring the heavy main line wraps evenly onto the drum reel.
The crew maintains their posts at the rail, watching the rising line for any signs of a catch.
A juvenile bluefin tuna comes over the rail. Too small for market. This catch must be released.
Kaelen carefully removes the steel hook, ensuring minimal damage to the young fish. Anton returns the juvenile to the ocean, preserving the stock for future seasons. Kaelen rinses the sorting table, preparing the deck for the next haul in the long string. The main line vibrates under extreme tension. A heavy load is rising from the deep canyon edges. Anton hooks the second buoy line, coordinating with Lars to steer the vessel close to the haul point.
The branch line rises, vibrating under the strain of a powerful fish diving below the hull.
A massive bluefin tuna breaks the surface, thrashing against the rail in a storm of white spray. Anton and Kaelen secure the catch with double gaffs, hoisting the heavy specimen over the low steel rail.
The tuna lands on the green deck, its metallic blue and silver skin shimmering in the cold daylight.
Anton measures the length of the catch, documenting the commercial size before storing the catch.
An Alaskan blizzard rolls in over the Gulf of Alaska, glazing the steel structures and gantry in thick layers of freezing snow.
Anton climbs the wet pedestal ladder, his gloved hands feeling the slick metal rungs as he ascends.
A freezing wave crashes over the port rail, washing the deck in seawater and straining the gear ties.
Captain Lars fights the wheel, counter-steering to keep the bow aligned against the charging swells.
Lars checks the secondary pressure gauge. The extreme cold is thickening the hydraulic oil, threatening the deck winches.
The mainline spool cable sings under high tension, vibrating as it holds a heavy load outside the rail.
Freezing rain and a line tangle have locked the spool joint, halting rotation while the line remains suspended.
Suspended above the rising waves, the heavy line swings wildly, threatening to tangle under the hull.
Lars issues radio commands from the bridge door, directing the crew to clear the jammed hydraulic spool.
Anton steps onto the slippery deck floor, carrying the steel cable cutter to clear the jammed spool. Bracing against the rolling deck, Anton cuts the tangled nylon bundle encasing the joint. The sharp cut splits the tangled bundle, releasing the hydraulic spool from the nylon grip.
Kaelen braces the harness, holding the deckhand steady as the vessel pitches in the heavy swells.
Lars engages the pedestal joystick. The spool drum moves smoothly, bringing the weighted mainline inboard. The line is secured on the wet deck floor after minutes of tension in the open squall.
Anton hooks the heavy tie-down chain, locking the spool to the deck ring to prevent any shifting.
Exhausted by the cold and the physical effort, Anton takes a brief rest, his breath steam rising in the freezing air. Under the cold night floodlights, the tired crew hoists the next branch line spool, maintaining the harvest rhythm.
Anton pulls the hatch rope, releasing the door latch to dump the contents onto the sorting table.
A massive bluefin tuna spills onto the deck, its powerful body thrashing against the wet green planks.
Anton secures the gaff, holding the heavy specimen steady against the rail to prepare for bleeding.
Kaelen applies the second gaff, stabilizing the heavy fish to ensure a safe offload on the deck.
Kaelen bleeds the catch immediately, maintaining the premium quality of the fish meat.
Anton measures the length of the catch, documenting the commercial size before storing the catch. Anton logs the weight details on a heavy plastic tag, keeping a precise physical record of the haul.
The tagged tuna is placed into the ice hold, where the temperature will keep it preserved.
Kaelen covers the tuna with fresh ice, ensuring the catch remains chilled throughout the transit.
Kaelen locks the hatch cover, securing the catch hold before the next heavy haul comes over the rail.
As dawn breaks, the storm passes, leaving a cold, silver light rolling across the quiet waters.
The main line vibrates under extreme tension. A heavy load is rising from the deep canyon edges. Anton adjusts the spool tension, matching the hydraulic pull to the fish's violent dive.
Kaelen preps the tail rope, ready to secure the fish before the final hoist onto the deck. A true monster bluefin breaks the surface, thrashing against the hull in a storm of white spray. Anton and Kaelen apply gaff hooks, hoisting the record-breaking giant salmon over the low steel rail. Bracing on the rolling deck, both men pull the tail rope, locking the giant tuna's tail to secure the load. Kaelen bleeds the monster fish immediately, ensuring the premium commercial quality of the meat. Anton and Kaelen measure the record tuna, logging the exact length in their database.
The crane hoists the giant fish to the scale, prepping the analog indicator for the final weigh.
The needle settles at 705 pounds, indicating a record catch for the season. Anton logs the record weight on the tag, completing the physical data record.
Anton secures the tracking tag to the tail, finalizing the harvest documentation.
Kaelen covers the giant tuna with fresh ice, ensuring the record catch is immediately preserved. Anton locks the holding tank hatch cover, securing the cargo as the vessel completes the harvest.
Lars smiles at the helm navigation table, relieved to have secured the record haul.
The vessel sails smoothly, heading back toward the shoreline of Outer Banks under a calm sky.
Anton coils the lines on deck, organizing the gear after the long harvest operations.
Lars guides the helm, seeing the harbor docks appear through the thinning coastal fog. Entering the harbor channel, the vessel prepares to moor, completing the winter bluefin harvest. Mooring at the dock, Anton throws the primary bow line, securing the vessel to the harbor piling. Kaelen opens the chilled hold hatch, preparing the deep-sea cargo for the harbor crane offload. The harbor shore crane lowers the offload hook, beginning the harvest transfer sequence.
Anton and Kaelen retrieve the first bluefin catch, attaching the tail rope loop to the shore crane hook.
Kaelen hooks the record-breaking monster tuna, locking the gantry connector onto the tail rope. Together, the crew guides the hoist line, stabilizing the giant fish as it swings inward. Suspended in the cold harbor air, the giant catch represents the peak of their winter labor. The crane places the giant tuna on the dock table, where the official grading will begin. The grading agent takes a core sample, extracting a cross-section of meat to evaluate fat content. He inspects the sample, checking the color and fat density that determine the premium grade value.
Lars reviews the logistics, cross-referencing the harvest logbook sheets with the harbor agent.
The agent signs the delivery receipt, confirming the total weight of the commercial tuna haul.
Lars receives the payment check of $294,200.
With a proud smile, Lars pockets the check, marking another successful harvest for the sea serpent. Kaelen washes the wheelhouse glass, cleaning the salt crusting from the navigation windows. Anton sweeps the aft deck floor, restoring order to the boat before the crew prepares for the next run. With the vessel secured and the gear stowed, the sea serpent rests, ready for the next deep harvest.